Hey everybody. Dr. Rick, has been one of those days. But all said and done, it's not a bad business week. On another note, here to talk to you about the latest within the black community, something that's been a theme over the last few weeks. I'm going to start mixing some other things in because I'm pretty sure right now it's becoming redundant with you guys, but the redundancy is real. It's being experienced over and over again by different families every day, and it doesn't seem to be an end in sight. For everybody who isn't aware, we are currently in the midst of a targeted fundraiser for Black Men Lead, the Rite of Passage initiative for young black males, and we are asking for you to support the work that we do in the black community on a number of different levels. One of being Black Men Lead, which is a Rite of Passage initiative, and wraparound services for young black males from ages 4 to 30. So show your support, show your love. Look in the description box. If you are aware of what we've been doing for years, if you're aware of the contributions that I have made over the years, and you believe in what I do, show some support and ride along with us as we contribute what we have and what we do, and we strive to improve the black community, regardless of how small the incremental steps may be. The word of the day is progress. And so I'm going to say that on that note, and say that while the steps are small and the gate isn't that large, we are making progress, and that's something I believe. It doesn't look like it on the surface, but if you're measuring the way that I do with the highest level of specificity, we are making gains in certain areas while we are taking major blows in others, but we are making progress. The problem is, will the progress be so slow that it will take generations upon generations to see any massive change? And if that's the case, we still got to make the progress, because being better is still better than being the same. And so we've got to sit up and work. And I think that's something that happens in life. A lot of people give up on making themselves better because they can't see any massive immediate change. We live in a world, what I call the microwave culture, where everything is immediate. If you can't get any immediate gratification, if you can't get any immediate results, you abandon it. We quit on ourselves in so many different ways as individuals and as a collective. I believe that you got to fight through, you got to push through, and if you're making progress, you're winning. You're just not winning at a pace you may be happy with, but you got to keep pushing, because at some point you're going to build enough momentum that you're going to start to see a more rapid pace. And that's something I truly believe about where we are at as individuals and as a collective. But we cannot take our foot off the gas. We cannot come off the field. We are going to have to consistently push, press, and fight. Now, why I'm here, you know that I've been pushing real hard about supporting the work we do, because I am really heavy right now on proper socialization of young black males, because of just how devastating not socializing them can be for themselves and others. A young black male that isn't properly racially socialized will have a much greater capacity and proclivity towards violence. Capacity for and proclivity towards violence. They will be more at risk to drop out of school, which makes them more at risk to become criminal-minded and criminalized and ultimately incarcerated. It will increase their recidivism rate, which is already 75%. The recidivism rate is the rate at which an incarcerated individual, when released, will return. Okay, to prison, will reoffend. Okay, that's just some of the things that happens when we don't properly socialize our kids. Here in Houston, I told you guys maybe a couple of weeks ago about a young 11-year-old boy who got home with his parents, realized he left his jacket in the car, went back to the car to get the jacket, and in that short period of time was shot and killed while getting the jacket out of the car. Well, good news is they finally caught the guy who did it. I didn't have to actually catch him. He was already in jail, which seems to be his hangout. And here's the crazy thing. This is a 22-year-old male, something like that, who was out on bond for aggravated robbery, had an extensive criminal history, and was breaking into cars in an adjacent apartment complex. Somebody saw him breaking into their car, came out and started chasing him. He runs off into this community where this little boy is getting his jacket out, and the guy is still chasing him, so he's armed, and he turns around and starts to shoot at the guy who's chasing him and hits the kid. The timing that has to be, just crazy. This 5 seconds that this kid decided to go out and get this jacket is the 5 seconds that this clown happens to be running down, shooting back at somebody about something he stole from their vehicle, and kills this kid. Just 3-4 nights ago, another black man is arrested and charged with, I think, aggravated assault, but he killed somebody. But the way that it happened, it's either probably going to end up being manslaughter of some type or aggravated assault, because he had been robbed. He and his wife at a drive-through ATM got robbed. When the suspect took off with his money, he got out the truck and started shooting. Well, he saw the suspect, he thought, jump into a SUV. So he started firing at the SUV. That was a little 9-year-old girl, and he hit, who later died. But the crime, number one is that was irresponsible on his part, and I'm pretty sure he was acting out of emotion and anger and a heightened flow of adrenaline. But it was a very poor decision to shoot blindly and open like that. Anybody that's handled firearms in hostile situations knows you have to be able to see your target and have a clear shot. You need to know where your target's at, and you need to know what's behind your target at all times. The basics of shooting. You must have a clear vision of your target, and you must know what's behind your target. Unfortunately, I am not an anti-gun person. I am, pro-gun. But one thing that happens in a state like Texas, which has always been pro-gun, long before we had our first concealed weapon, everybody was armed in Texas. So don't ever let anybody make you think that we just started carrying guns down here. Everybody got guns. So, but what happens is in a situation like this, where now we're an open carry state, so everybody can legally walk around with a gun if you don't have a felony. The problem is, there's no way to look at you and say you got a felony. So everybody's walking around with guns. So not everybody is hyped, and it's looking like it's always just this close to being set off. But anyway, I said all that to say that situation that we talked about with the young kid getting killed has become far too common. We've lost kids under the age of 15, about 5 over the last 3 weeks. Mostly road rage. If we go back a couple of months, you can add 4 more. Road rage, but a lot of it is inner city crime, where people are just afraid to go out in their own community. My wife, who is strapped, literally had two of my daughters with her. This was about a year or so ago. And they were driving around, and there were some guys following them. I mean, they left one location, went to a completely different location, look up, those guys were still there. And she called me, and I said, hey, are you locked and loaded? I'm on my way. Just get to somewhere where it's a bunch of people and get your shit out and be prepared to use it. Tell the girls to get down and do what you got to do. By the time I got there, they were gone because they realized that they had been seen and that they were being filmed. And the thing is, they were looking at those girls. You never know if they were going to be set. They was black guys. You never know if they were thinking about sex trafficking or robbing. But my wife has been followed from the bank to the gym, and one of our vehicles, the one she drives, was broken into because they saw her leave the bank, so they thought something was in the car. And she was actually making a deposit. She wasn't making a withdrawal. But they followed her from the bank and broke into the car. And that alone is traumatizing. I don't think nobody's had their car broken into more than me. Man, I mean, for a while, I was like, shit. But it hasn't happened in a while outside of what happened to Marion. But what I'm saying is, there are certain things we can do. What we cannot do, and nothing pisses me off than seeing a bunch of dudes throwing their hands up like these kids just got out of hand. Well, it's supposed to be our community, though. It's supposed to be something we take ownership in. What we do is we work our ass off to get out the hood, and we leave it. And we leave the elderly people that literally have been there all of their lives. We leave them there to deal with these unbridled, unguided, misled social orphans. And we expect these kids to somehow figure it out. They got a lot of rage, frustration. They got a lot of confusion. And there's no guidance, there's no control, there's no accountability, there's nothing. We've got to take our communities back. Yeah, that's a scary proposition for a bunch of men because we become weak. I'm just gonna go out and say it. We've become weak when it comes down to doing what it has to be done in order to go into communities and literally retake them. You got teenagers running communities because nobody is man enough on a collective level to go in there. My whole thing is there was a bunch of dumb shit that I was willing to die for and die over when I was their age. Never got plugged into gangs. Never had a real criminal mind about breaking and doing shit. But I had a temper. And I was real testy, and I was ready to do whatever. And I'll leave it at that. Behind stupid shit. I mean, you could say something wrong to me, and it was a problem. And so now I'm a bitch up? No. I mean, these cats, and I'll tell you, there's some cats out there. When you go out there, you got to be ready to hurt them. If you're not ready to hurt them, you can't go because they will hurt you. But you got to go, and you got to get to a place where they respect you. And the thing is, there's a part of these kids, no matter how hard they are, looking for a father. But you got to be bold enough or brave enough to go in there and face it. And you can't go in there pointing your finger because they're going to let you know real quick, nigga, you ain't been here. Excuse my language. So there's a way to do it. We do it. You know, I've never had a kid threaten my life, and I've been around some killers. But there's a way to do it. I'm not saying one day it won't happen. What I'm saying is I can't sit around out of fear. Dr. King said this, and I'm going to leave it on this note. one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King. Y'all have all the other breezy, nice, cute little bull crap. And let me just take that back. It's not bull crap, but cute little stuff that he said when he was dreaming. I don't want none of that. But when he sit up and says that a man that does not have something for which he is willing to die is not fit to live, I feel that all up in my bones. That's some shit I would die for. I know this isn't your usual Dr. Wallace stuff. This is me talking to you real. This is a black man who has black kids, who has black daughters, who wants them to marry solid, well-developed protectors and providers, and not somebody I'm gonna have to hurt behind one of my babies. Because I'm telling you, you do something to mine, I'm coming for you and anybody else that want to get in the way. And that's not what I want to do. I want to be able to trust that we've got enough boys out there that are becoming men that will know how to treat my granddaughters. I got a few of them coming up. And so then I can't sit up and leave that to chance. I've got to sit up and say, I need to be a part of the solution. And I need to be in the face of these other young cats, that's the next generation in their 30s, because they're going to be closer connected and have a better linkage to these young kids than I do. But hey, I'm going in there and we're going to talk about it. Fine, hey man, shit. You know, anybody can pull a trigger. That don't make you tough. Talking about surviving and winning, that's tough. Being able to survive and win and be still available for your family, that's being tough. Taking the easy way out ain't tough. It don't make you hard. It don't take but 5 pounds of pressure to pull a trigger. That's it. And on some of these hair triggers, less than that. So what I'm trying to say right now is we've got to do a better job. I'm calling on men. We got to be together. I need volunteers. I need men, but I need men who are doing man stuff, loving your wives, protecting your daughters, being out there building businesses, working hard on the job, knowing how to talk to people, knowing how to handle people, knowing how to lead. I need you because I need them to see it. There's nothing more powerful of a teacher than the model, to sit up and watch it. And that's what so many of these kids are missing in the home, is the modeling of manhood, because the man isn't there. And so we've got to find a way to replace that. That's what these programs are about. But what I'm tired of doing is I'm tired of seeing headlines with babies gone. I'm tired of getting calls about grief counseling or trauma therapy or a bunch of other things that you know, and I say I'm tired of it. It doesn't mean that I'm tired of my work. I love my work. I'm tired of seeing people hurt when there's work that can be done to change it. And so that's what I'm saying. And on that note, look, I'm gonna get ready to get out of here. If there is not something for which you are willing to die, if a man does not have something for which he is willing to die, he's not fit to live. On that note, I'm out of here. Don't forget, if you believe in the work we're doing, go to the description box, click that link, and give. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day. I'm out.